If you look at my previous PC build video, you'll see I had a Ryzen 2 2600 CPU and a 1080 Ti graphics card. In TimeSpy it scored 8802, 9639 from the GPU and 5901 from the CPU. First thing I did was get a Zotac Trinity 3090 because I found one available at the correct price. The Zotac card seems well put together. It does not overclock without messing with the BIOS, so instead I'm undervolting it at 850 millivolts at 1845 megahertz. This reduces the heat and noise a little bit with no noticeable difference on performance. On its own, this upgrade gives a TimeSpy score of 14570, 19366 from the GPU and 6063 from the CPU. I suppose the two affect each other a little bit. I was never happy that my memory was 3200 megahertz but would only work at 2866, so I got some 2x16GB Team Force 8-pack Pro Dark 3600 megahertz memory. Did it affect performance? No, the TimeSpy score went up by less than 100 and I could not see any effect in games, although I could only get it running at 3200 MHz CL14. The CPU wouldn't let me go any faster than that. It's possible the memory speed will have more effect on a new CPU, but I haven't actually tested slower memory on a new CPU yet. So I went and got a Ryzen 9 5900X from Amazon with the help of Stock Informer UK Discord. This is a huge upgrade. My Cinebench score increased from 2801 to 8201. It didn't make any difference to Cyberpunk though. Since the 1.05 patch, that game started making good use of the 6 cores on the old CPU. I suppose it doesn't need any more single core performance than it was already getting, at least with everything on Ultra and ray tracing on Psycho. In Flight Simulator, the difference is huge. On the runway at Heathrow, I went from 46 frames per second, limited by main thread taking 20 milliseconds per frame, to 71 frames per second, limited by main thread taking 13 milliseconds. The GPU looks ready to run at 90 frames per second or more. I did try VR, but on the HP Reverb G2 I'm still limited to around 30 frames per second and relying on the 2-frame motion smoothing, although settings are high and it does look good. I want to experiment more before making a video about that though. In the Tomb Raider benchmark I straightforwardly went from being CPU bound to GPU bound. Maximum CPU frame time was 8.2 milliseconds with the new CPU, but peaked at 17.5 with the old one, which was affecting performance in that game. You could see the CPU line going above the GPU line. I forgot to test DCS virtual reality with just a graphics card upgrade, but after all the upgrades it went from a somewhat stuttery 45 FPS-ish to a buttery smooth 45 FPS. The frame times improved from 21 to 13 milliseconds, which seems to leave enough headroom to turn some settings up and make sure every frame is on time. Anyway, the computer can now handle anything I ask it to do, although hardly any software takes full advantage of it all at once. Although the dream of 90 frames per second in VR and flight sims still seems distant, everything is now plenty smooth enough and plenty sharp enough.